before you even start thinking about career in your lifetime, usually when you're a youngin', a little kid, you start getting some coins here and there and what to do with that money when you are in the early ages of your life. And that's why Tammy Johnston is here. She is the author of a Financial Foundations books for kids, and they reach out to kids 8 to 10-year-olds. That's sort of when you start getting that allowance, right? Or you start, you know, setting up the lemonade stand to get some income.
Well, targeting from 8 to 12-year-olds is because they've already been in school for a little while. They are starting to get the allowance, and they're starting to become more an independent person. They're not so tied to their parents, and they're wanting to make more decisions. And they have more of the basic skills to be able to start understanding and asking the questions. Because we don't teach our kids about money, and it really blows my mind that we don't do that, because money is a part of absolutely everything. Like, it's not the most important thing, but try to do anything in our world without money. And the really sad fact is Canadians have the lowest rate of financial literacy in the westernized world. Like, that means we know less than Americans. And we're getting kids that don't know anything when they're going into college. And the first day they go into college and university, and they're getting hit on by every bank and credit card company. And they're getting themselves into financial difficulty because they don't understand how anything works, because they've always been sheltered from it. Mom and dad take care of it, and they don't know how to ask the questions and how things work and how to make it an important, responsible and fun part of their life, not something that just causes them an awful lot of stress.
Yeah, Tammy, we're not surprised that a lot of people are actually contacting us about questions and whatnot. We have a couple of video questions. Here's one for you, so have a look and have a listen.
My kids are hearing from their friends at school that there's a lot of layoffs coming. What can I tell or teach my kids to ease their fears and be better prepared as adults to deal with the ups and downs of the economy?
So here you are, you have a child who is maybe 10 or less, and always in the news you hear some of the negative things about people who are losing their jobs, thousands and thousands. This has got to be scary for kids. How do you deal with it, or how do you explain this to your child?
Well, a lot of the time when parents, especially, like, there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the oil and gas industry, and fears of layoffs, and the notices are just starting to come, and parents will try and shelter their kids from it. The kids are smart. They pick up on the stress, and they might not say anything to the parents because they don't want to add to it, but they start talking to their friends and stuff, because they don't understand what's going on. Their fears just go crazy, which is another one of the reasons why we talk about teaching them about money and talking about, yeah, you're going to have different careers and stuff throughout your life, and learning to ask the questions and how to be a part, like sitting down with our kids and going, okay, being honest with them, what is going on, having them explain that, yeah, we do have to pay bills and stuff, so we might have to be a little bit more aware, and things do cost, because so many kids, they don't even know what cash is. Why can't you just get some money from off that plastic card?
That's right.
So it's just bringing them part of it and going, yes, there's options, and we're looking into doing things, and start majorly having the conversations about money, just bringing them in as part of the family. We teach them about health, we teach them about chores.
So why not?
Why not talk about money?
Absolutely. Do you suggest maybe setting up, I don't know how to say this, but maybe paying your parents a little bit and then putting that into savings?
I like that.
Or should they be taxing any money that you get, just to kind of play off that, you know, the government?
Or is that over the top?
Today I'm going to take a little bit of your money. One day the government is going to take a little bit of your money. Does that start things off a little bit, or is that too extreme?
Different things for different kids. Like, when you've got older kids, teenagers and stuff that are starting to work and stuff like that, what more parents will do is offloading some of the costs. Well, if you want the clothes, I will give you this amount, but if you want anything over and above that, you're going to have to work for it and do different things like that. One of the biggest things that we talk about is setting up kids on a simple budget system. That's why we have the jars out, and we give them an allowance, and then they have to make choices and understand all that. And then we also talk about in the one book, you guys don't have to pay for the necessities. We pay the mortgage and we pay the utilities and stuff, but that is a part of life. When you're a kid, you have the freedom to play, but you have to be aware that, no, this stuff doesn't come for free, and money adds up very, very quickly, so you have to make your choices.
Carla, you buy into this?
You know, I really do. Our 7-year-old, actually, just on the weekend, he's laying on the couch playing video games, and said something about, I don't think I'm going to get a job when I grow up.
That must be nice.
I said, wow, where are you going to get your money? And he goes, I'm going to find it somehow or another. So we do really need to teach our children the value of money. And we'll often do that if they want something and we know they've got a little bit of savings. We'll say, we'll put a certain percentage in and you have to, you know, taking that money out of your pocket and putting it away and giving it to somebody else really teaches, you know, now I don't have this. I can either keep it or I don't have it and I get what I want. It really does teach our kids some value.
And Kate, if only we had a guide, something, maybe a booklet of such. If only we had such a thing.
That's where Tammy comes in.
Yeah.
She wrote, how many of these are there?
There's 6 in a set.
6 in a set, and it's kind of cute picture book for kids. You can look, and it's got bullet points, and actually it taught us, Phoenix and I, quite a bit when we were looking through them the other day.
I read them over the weekend. Man, I want the whole series.
Yep. Well, the second set's going to be coming out in the next couple months, and then we have
Hurry!
to work on
Hell.
that. It takes a year for these to be painted because all the pictures are individually done watercolors. Like they're
Yes.
gorgeous.
So where was the inspiration for these books? Where did the idea come from?
Well, I've been in financial services for 23 years now, and I've been teaching courses to the general public for 13. And one of the biggest questions I would get is, where were you 20 years ago?
Yep.
Like, if I had learned this stuff like when I was in university and coming out, I would be in a completely different financial situation. What can you recommend for my kids? Because I want them to learn this much sooner than I did. I don't want them to make the same mistakes and miss out on the same opportunities. And I'd have to go, well, I can recommend tons of stuff for adults, but I don't know about kids. Let me check into it. And I started looking, and there was nothing for kids, like nothing.
Amazing.
Like I was able to find a glorified ABC book. A is for account, B is for bank. Now there's a couple books out there for parents to start talking to their kids. Like Yale Van Axlade has one out. Gordon Pape and his daughter put one. But it's for the parents to talk to the kids. So I'm going, there's obviously a huge need. So I started putting the books together and giving them the information, teaching them how to ask questions, and just become involved and start learning, because everything is always changing. In my 23-year career, like, I could go on for days about just the legal tax and product changes, but the basics are always the same.
Why do you think we haven't changed over the last maybe 20 years to teach more? Because we keep having this conversation is we don't teach our kids enough, but how come we haven't really changed at all?
Because most parents don't know how to talk about it.
Exactly.
It's a cycle.
It is. You can't teach what you don't know. And if you don't have the basic knowledge and you don't know where to start, and it's a very emotional subject. Having people talk openly and honestly about their finances, like we find, it's a really, really big deal.
Oh, yeah.
I did a coaching session on Friday with a social worker. And one of the big issues between him and his wife is they can't talk about money. And they're in their 40s and they have children.
You're right.
So if the parents can't talk about money, and I'm going to be honest, between the top 5 reasons sometimes couples don't stay together today is because of financial issues. So if the parents can talk about money, it's very difficult for them then to talk to their children and teach their children how to talk about money. So it really is an epidemic, and I think that it's awesome that there's some books that we can start teaching the children when they're younger, so when they get married, they can talk to their spouses about money, because it's important.
And it's not just when there's financial difficulties, but money is such an emotional topic. For one spouse, it could be all about security and safety, and they went through tough times when they were young, and the other spouse, it's all about freedom and enjoying life.
Yes.
And it's not that there's a shortage of money or anything, but they don't have that emotional connect. Like, to be very honest, the biggest part of my job is marriage counseling.
Yeah, no, for sure it is.
The financial stuff is easy.
absolutely.
We can do that in our sleep, but if you can't get the couple talking, let alone how do you talk to your children?
How do you
Like when
talk to your
Carla says, you
kids?
can't talk to your spouse
Yeah.
openly and
It's like
honestly
a
about
taboo
it.
Yeah.
subject. You just don't want to bring it up.
Like in the 80s, I knew when the market fell that my dad's mortgage, he was paying 21%, because they told us, no, you can't have this because of this. So they were honest with us. So it's good.
Tammy Johnston, author and financial planner. We're going to tap into your brain a little bit more as the hour progresses as well, too. Great to have you both on panel this morning.
And speaking of blowing your budget, you know,
Which is
something that I
fun.
do
Just fun sometimes.
on a regular basis, probably too often.